Hey, welcome to our Friday night live or our Sunday night live show. I don't even know what day of the week it is. It's been a busy week for us, and I apologize for the background. I'll try to fix that here real quickly. But for those that don't know, she's Cheryl.
He's Ken.
And so tonight we're talking about some of the things we've done in the last week. We had really busy week. It was a nice week, a fun week, but it was also very busy. Fix the screen here real quick. That's better. We went to, if for those that missed it, I think we talked a little bit about it last week, but we went to Astoria, Oregon. And I would say this, that we liked Astoria, and we'll come back to that. But to start with, we want to know, as always, where are you watching from? And I saw somebody had a comment in already. We got, who's with us? Hey, Pam.
Hi, Pam.
She's from up in the northeast part of Canada. Hey. And do me a favor, put comments and questions in the chat if you have some. We're going to talk about quite a few things tonight, but we'll start with Astoria, Oregon. Now, one unique fact about Astoria that's probably no importance to anybody, but it is the town where Goonies was filmed. And our film crew, who are from Chile, were very impressed that they were filming where Goonies was filmed, and they knew all the buildings that were used in Goonies, and it was fun watching them get excited about it. I didn't see Goonies, so it didn't matter that much to me. But and I'll ask Cheryl this question: what did you think about accessibility in Astoria?
Astoria is very accessible. They've been working on it. They've actually put a lot of effort into it so, for example, the hotel we stayed at, the Holiday Inn, we had an accessible room on the first floor. It was a large accessible room. We'll have pictures later, but it was very easy. I had my wheel seat too, but any type of scooter, a large scooter would have easily have turned around at the beginning, at the front of the room when you first get there. The shower was all tile floor that gradually slanted down to the shower, no ledge whatsoever. It was very nice. The half of that hotel, one side has been completely remodeled. It's very accessible. The dining area, their little hot breakfast to go or hot breakfast eat there was all very accessible. Now in the town, one more after we were there for several days, I felt very safe there. Just one negative. One thing is that I felt very safe there as long as the sun was out and people were around. Just put it that way. And it's a beautiful little seacoast town. And so the third day we were there, I got up early, couldn't sleep. I got up after the sunrise and I went up and I went down 16 blocks, I believe, with my scooter, because there was something I wanted to get a photo of. And then I came back. And all I had was people smiling, nodding on their way to work. The curbs were all, at one point in the curb, at least at one point on every curb, it does come to a slant to the street. Some of them have two cutouts, which is convenient. One time I was going down a sidewalk and there was one time I went out into the street to go. There was one point where they had put a ramp there, but it was really it was probably 20 inches and the ramp was about 6 inches long. I mean, it just didn't, not quite 90-degree cliff there. So I did go around that. I just went back. I just backed up to a driveway for a business and went around it and came. It was just, I only was in the street for a few feet. You're really able to get around well. And then another spot I saw where a tree was lifting up the curbs, but the woman there at the Visitors Bureau, she takes a lot of walks normally, and she goes through and takes note of those things and has them fixed up. And I think that's why the sidewalks were so accessible. Many of the sites are accessible there. The port has, or the town has a walk. What's that? The Riverwalk. A Riverwalk. Yeah. A Riverwalk. And at the Riverwalk, there's several lookout points. All of that stuff. That was all accessible. It was very nice. The only thing I found that wasn't accessible, I would have liked to have done, which I could have, because you could step up into it, is they have a trolley from the 1800s that it's been remodeled the way it was originally made, which is, wonderful too. And so, but you have to be able to step a few steps up to get into it. And it's only $1 to ride it one direction or $2 all day. So it's a really good deal if you're staying near the river walk where you don't want to walk all the way there or back. Or if you have your scooter like I do, you can zip along with your scooter and your family can take the trolley. So it was a very nice little town.
Yeah, and it was interesting because our hotel, you just step outside the hotel and you were at the Riverwalk. I mean, it was maybe 10 feet or 15 feet was all it was to get there. And we also had an amazing view of the ships that passed by because the way the Columbia River is dredged right there is just inside of the first bridge support, because there was a bridge kind of went almost overhead of the hotel, but just the other side of the first bridge support was where the shipping channel was, and the rest of the river going toward the other side was pretty shallow. So the result of that is all the ships passed right by outside the window. I posted a video on the channel as a short earlier this week, and the trolleys there as a short as well. But it was, it was really, I thought a nice town. We really enjoyed it. The hotel was there. That was really nice. And the town has got a lot of interesting history associated with it. One of the places we went, and I have just one picture here, it was the Maritime Museum. This is a picture of the Maritime Museum.
The gift shop.
That's the gift shop there. And I am working on, I'll have videos on all of these places we went individually. But the Maritime Museum was probably my favorite place that we went, I think. I mean, I didn't go anywhere that I didn't like, but I could have spent a lot more time in the Maritime Museum. We were on a fairly tight shooting schedule. And just to say this was the first time in our lives that we've been the stars of the movie.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it was,
yeah.
I asked him if we got our SAG card, Screen Actors Guild card, for being actors in their movie. But, because we had a young lady named Vera that she was kind of our director, and we had a couple of cameramen. And again, it was just very different from any other experience we've had.
For you, you're always filming me.
Oh, well, yeah. I guess that was my first time as a prop. There we go.
There you go. That's your new nickname. Oh, good.
Prop 2. Yeah.
Prop number 2.
But it was funny because we'd have to do multiple takes sometimes of the film, because they would do like a close-up shot on us, then a little wider shot, then a distant shot, and we were walking down the street in the evening, and it was just a lot of fun. We had a great time with it. They were the camera crew came in from Chile, and our director Vera, she was from San Francisco. She originally from Canada. Well, before that, Venezuela to Canada to San Francisco now. But she was the one that took care of all of our arrangements and set everything up. But this Maritime Museum is so cool. I could have easily spent at least half a day there. They had a lot of exhibits. They had the Columbia River, which is what you can see in the background in that picture, the water out behind Cheryl. That is the Columbia River. And Astoria is where the Columbia River runs into the ocean. And there's a place out there they call the Bar, and it is one of the most dangerous places for ships of any size to cross when the weather's bad. And yet ships come and go through there all the time. But there's sand out there that shifts around. There can be 30 or 40 foot high waves, where the water from the river meets the ocean. So this museum told the story of what's happening out there. They had a map on the wall that showed all the wrecks. There was just so much to see. And they showed, talked about the people that run the pilot boats. They talked about the
training of the Coast Guard. What I liked about it, it's fully accessible. You could really spend hours there. We every time I thought I was finished, this little space of going through the museum. And there was another whole room to go through. It was one after another. There was interesting photos about the the Japanese in World War II. Just so much. That town has so much history there, and but they had one little spot where you could raise. They had a little one of those open elevators for wheelchairs, so I could get up and see these other boats that they had there. Like the museum actually has boats hanging and has boats standing, so children would love it. There's a place where you can get into like the top of it's like a makeshift pilot boat, like as if you were in the pilot boat steering it, and so it was a lot of fun.
Yeah, it was one of the things that made it really interesting too, is because it dealt with not just the big ships, but they dealt with small ships. They had people telling stories of their being rescued by the Coast Guard. As Cheryl mentioned, they talked about the training of the Coast Guard individuals, and it was interesting because they had such a short period of time to save people out of the water. They literally had about 3 minutes. If somebody fell in the water, if they didn't get them rescued in 3 minutes, the odds of being able to rescue them went way down. So there was it was fascinating. We liked it. There was a tower there too that was kind of interesting.
The Astoria Tower.
Yeah, it was the Astoria Tower. And so just click on that right there.
Oh, there it is. Okay.
And so you can see a picture of it there. And Cheryl, you want to tell them about the outside of it?
Oh yeah, this was one of my favorite spots because of the artwork. The tower has 164 steps going up inside it. No elevator, which was fine with me. I don't like heights. So, but it's the tower itself sits about 540 feet above sea level at the base of it. So from there, you can see about 270 degrees around that area, and you can see the rivers converging and going into the ocean. And you're up so high, it almost looks like a photograph because the waves, you're so high up above the waves that you don't really see the waves moving. And so it was very interesting. It's accessible. They have a gift shop that's partially accessible. They have restrooms there that are accessible. I don't know how accessible the men's room was. The women's room, if you had a wider wheelchair, you might not make it because they have the way the sinks are right there. You're walking toward the sink, and then on the left there was some kind of a box, and I was able to get my wheel C2 in there, but I'm not sure that a wide wheelchair, it would be pretty tight. But anyway, it was a great place to look around and see. And then I took a picture of Ken up there at the top of the tower. And what Ken was saying, the spirals going up the tower is the history of Astoria, from starting at the bottom from where it was just Indians that lived there, going up through Lewis and Clark, coming there and finding their way to the Pacific Ocean through the Columbia River, and the starting of a fort there, just all the way up. It's a beautiful work of art. It really does give honor to the history of the town there, and it's accessible. It's beautiful. There's one of the views from there, but and you can see the tower even from Washington across the bridge on the other side where Ken has the pointer. You can see the tower from there. You can see the tower from all over town, just about. Just look up to see it up on the hill. And the bridge there where it gets wide over here on the left end of it, that's all the way up to the very, very end of the left end of it is where the hotel was that was the Holiday Inn that we stayed at.
This is the channel right there.
Yeah, just past that is a nice luxury hotel that we'll have some more information about later. And we did get to tour an accessible room there, and there will be videos on Astoria's website about that accessibility in that hotel.
It's from the same place.
Oh, so this is another. Yeah. This is looking out from the tower property there at the Columbia River. It's beautiful. Okay, so then the next thing we looked at, one of the things we looked at was Fort Stevens Park and the wreck of the Peter Iredell.
Yeah, there's the hotel.
Oh, there's the luxury hotel. This is looking out from behind our, just past our hotel. Between our hotel and that hotel, there's a memorial there for those who have lost their lives there, and that's at the edge of that. It's and the river walk is just like about 10 or 15 feet behind me there. So it's a beautiful view. And so here's the Fort Stevens Park is on the beach. It also has walking trails. It has accessible, very rough outhouse type buildings. So if you're going to use it, make sure to have lots of hand sanitizer, or just try to go before and after your stay there. There's also historical buildings, and so if you're a real history buff, you might spend more time there. We really didn't have a lot of time to spend there, but we did get the wheel out on the beach. You can drive on the beach up to 12 o'clock between May and September. And after 12 o'clock, you have to get off the beach because the water's going to come in really quickly, because it's a totally flat beach. And when the tide comes in, it just comes. And this is the Peter Iredell boat behind me. And people were walking up and, tiptoeing through the water to get up closer to it. But it was pretty neat to be able to get out there in a wheelchair and get out close to it. That was nice.
Yeah. And what we found with this beach with Cheryl and the wheel is this wheel probably didn't really belong on it, but as long as she kept moving, the wheel managed it. The sand's packed pretty tight. Anything with wheels any narrower than that would not work at all, because it is sand. It's just wet sand, and it packed fairly well. I did have to help her a couple of times when she stopped. Like after this picture, she stopped, and I had to provide her some help.
Once you keep going, you're okay. And once you get going, you're okay, but don't stop because you'll sink. But you don't sink too far, but enough where it doesn't want to start up again. And yes, it is, Pam. It is a very special town. One thing I would say about it, after I was there for about 12 hours, I just felt, I got this feeling in the town that if you had an emotional event or a physical event that was very distressing to you, it would be a great place to heal. It's so beautiful, calm, quiet. There's only about 10,000 residents. And this time of year, before summer comes, it's not particularly crowded. And it was beautiful. And in fact, if there's something you want to do there, there's no waiting lines when it's off season. It's you just have opportunity to see whatever you want to see there. It's great.
And so this is a replica of Lewis and Clark's fort they built just across one of the rivers from Astoria. I don't know why I keep wanting to say Aurora, but Astoria. And so this was a picture, and you'll notice there's a ramp there. So that made this building actually accessible. And Cheryl was able to go in, and this is a couple of pictures inside, but this is as accurate a reproduction. They are actually really log cabins built, the same thing with the fence and everything, but it was designed to let people see what it was like when Lewis and Clark were there. We have a lot more pictures. I just picked a few for today.
And they have a museum there and a gift shop, and you can ask the workers there questions. They are working on making it more accessible. They're making some nicer rest area, I think. And there was an interesting trail there. I did take the wheel all the way down close to the water on that site, down to trail. And I don't think I ever needed help on that trail. One place I hit some soft stuff. I did, and I started to slide to the side, and I had to have help. But and you get down, and at the very bottom, there's more of a wooden walkway where you can go out and get really close. Yeah, boardwalk. You can get out to the water. You can go quite a ways, maybe like 1/8 of a mile on that boardwalk, looking at the forest down by the water. So it was very exciting. I was surprised at how accessible it was, considering it's a hill and it's forest, and and these are rustic buildings built the way they were years ago.
Yeah, so this was really quite interesting. We really enjoyed our trip through there. Another place we saw and this is an old cannery, and we toured through this. And there'll be videos coming on the two parks. There'll be video on the cannery, video on the museum. I shot a whole bunch of 360 footage, so they'll be able to look at it in 360 and also in as a flat video.
But as you go in through here, at first I thought it wasn't going to be accessible because on the side there's several doors that aren't, and then there is a door that's accessible into this first room, And so I came through here, came out this way, but then I went back. And if you go farther back in there, there's several rooms you can go back in there. They have even some old dive equipment, but it's also cannery equipment. So
Yeah.
it was very interesting. This is just kind of the outside storage area for some other.
Well,
other
these boats
things
are
related
exhibits.
to it. Yeah, that are related to it.
Yeah. So that was kind of interesting. They had a
Oh.
really nice place to get coffee and sit on a boardwalk right up against the river.
Yeah.
And you had you got serenaded when you were sitting outside there.
Oh, yes.
There was nonstop singing
From sea lions.
Yeah.
Sea lions are about maybe eighth of a mile down from there or less from the edge of that pier. And we got some photos of them and you can definitely hear them. Ken said you could even hear them up at the top of the tower. They're really loud. And I was told that if you have a hotel that's by this, I think this is Pier 39.
Pier 39, yeah.
If you have a hotel that's closer to Pier 39, they do put hearing earplugs in your room for you because the sea lions might do that, sing all night long. But it was nice. And was it Coffee Girl Bar? Can't remember.
Yeah, I don't remember the name of it.
And but there they also sell those little love locks. So we put a love lock there for Wheel the World and a love lock there for traveling with a chair because we were doing this trip together.
Yes, and so we'll have video of that, and video of that will be also on their site because that was the purpose of this trip. Really wasn't about us getting video for our channel. It was about creating a video for the city of Astoria's Visitors Bureau to highlight how accessible it was and how enjoyable it was.
Yes, I got fewer photos on this trip than I usually do.
Yeah,
but I have some.
So do you want to talk about this?
Oh yeah, this was a great place. This is the Haystack Rock at Cannon Beach, and it is amazing. And a picture does not do it justice. I'm so glad that the film crew had a drone, and they took a drone around it, which I can't wait to see that footage. It is beautiful. The water is very, very blue. It's huge. It's the third largest monolith in the world. So that makes it pretty interesting. And when we first tried to go there, there's several beach accesses. And the one we got up to, and it was like real thick sand. There's a part of the beach that's higher sand, like 4 or 5, and then it goes 4 or 5 feet and it goes up from there. And that's where we first tried to enter. So then we went down. There's a really nice restaurant that you can go through on a back street there. And if you go behind that restaurant, there's a road that takes you down to the hard packed beach. And so I just hit it running and I went out. Yeah, I got out about maybe 10 feet from the water. Oh, the wind was really blowing. I looked just great like that.
Yeah.
We'll go back to the other picture, Ken. Thanks. But anyway, the wind was really blowing by then. But it was beautiful. I got out real close to these waters here and got up close, and it was a lot of fun. We really enjoyed it.
Yeah, it was. And this whole trip was really, really. Like I said, we were in a hurry pretty much all the time we were there, so we didn't get the chance to necessarily enjoy stuff as much as we might have. Because this would have been a place if we could have gotten. They have beach wheelchairs in Cannon Beach, but there wasn't any available that day. But you get a beach wheelchair and you can come out here and just hang out on the beach and listen to the waves. That was one of the things that was really enjoyable about the being here and at the other beach was there are waves, and so you have this constant ocean sound, which Michelle and I both like a lot.
No, this rock is not in Astoria. It's about a 45-minute ride away. But it's one of those, if you're there, you really want to see it. You don't want to get that close to it and miss it. Like I said, the photos don't do it justice. It's beautiful and it's huge.
Yep, it is amazing. And so, like I said, we'll be back. Not sure exactly how or when. One of the things that's interesting, and this is a possibility, is American Cruise Lines sails up the Columbia River from there. So that is one of their ports where you could board. And so that might be one of the trips we'll make is join the American Cruise Lines. That is an interesting option because it is a small ship experience going up to Columbia. And then I think it goes up to Columbia and then it may be up the Snake River. I don't remember for sure, but it goes up. I'm pretty sure it is the Snake River. And so it would be a lot of fun to take that and go up that.
Oh yeah, Pam. As far as the rock, yeah, well, you'll be able to see it on the videos, I'm sure, of the drone video. We'll get really close.
Yeah, because the one nice thing about it, Rhonda,
Rhonda.
nice that you could join us. Glad it worked out. The nice thing about having this crew with us is they have a lot of drone footage, and this will be our first time having drone footage. It will not be our last.
Oh, give it to share now.
Oh, what do you want to do?
I was going to share the photo, but that's okay.
Oh, okay.
I'll just take that out. That's okay.
Yeah.
All right.
So anyway, we will have drone footage of that, and I should have a drone here on Tuesday because that was just pretty slick what they were able to do with the drone. Mine won't be nearly as fancy as theirs was. That theirs was in the multiple thousands of dollars. Mine's in the multiple hundreds of dollars. Being my usual thrifty self.
Well, we have to learn first, and drones sometimes can fall in the water and then you lose them. So if you're training, you might want to. And they said that sometimes the seagulls will knock them into the water. So
yeah, seagulls don't. If the seagulls are nesting, they don't like the drones, and so they will go out and harass the drone. And they also said you don't fly through embassy airspace because along the way in their filming journeys, they told one to return home without thinking about where it was, and it flew across the top of the fence at the American embassy and went black, and they didn't see it anymore. It was gone, and they felt no urge to go ask the embassy for their drone back. They just thought that probably wouldn't work. That was in Santiago. But so let's go anyway. So let's talk about the Hawaii trip for just a minute. We're still planning on the 30th of January on that 18-day cruise. I know Rhonda's going. Anybody else that's watching this and that's interested in going, let me know. Because what I'll need to do is start working on getting cabins booked that have the accessible space. We want to get that done pretty quickly. I just sent my, I've got my request in, and I know Rhonda's got a cabin, but you'll want to get your accessible space booked if you need an accessible room. I think that there's lots of empty rooms on the ship. I think that's one that's probably doesn't sell out. But again, part of it depends on price of room you want, and it would also depend on what you need in the way of facilities. Also, let's talk for 1 minute or two. I didn't say it wasn't high tech. It's the same manufacturer. It's just a little less expensive version of it. Until I crashed it a couple of times and figure out how to make sure that I know how to work it. And, all of those kinds of things. We're going to be a little careful with it. You will get some drone footage from the desert because we'll be 2 weeks from now. We'll be headed toward Moab. In fact, 2 weeks from Tuesday, we'll fly to Salt Lake City and then on to Moab, Utah. So we're looking forward to that.
Oh, I wanted to mention if you fly on American Airlines, you might get their red aviator card because business card if you have a business, because we were able to get several upgrades to first class on this last trip, which was good because those 4-hour or more flights are really hard on me, and the first class was much. And I have to say, I was not expecting. The food was fantastic in first class. I mean, it was a lot of it, and it was very good. I was pleasantly surprised.
Yeah, we didn't mind riding up front at all, especially when the plane was late, and it was full. Interesting. It was full and late, and the second flight or the last flight coming home, the reason we got upgraded to first class was people that had first class seats went to go stand by. They took us off the airplane while I did some work on it. And so some people weren't patient and they went running over to try to get on another flight. And our flight left before the flight they went running to get on, but because they weren't there, we left with some empty first class seats that they asked Cheryl and I if we'd like to ride in it. And also hurt our feelings.
Oh, and also a woman with a baby. And I thought that was good. You got a baby on your lap, a little extra room. So that was nice for her.
Yeah. And then also let's talk about Alaska. My plan now for Alaska is somewhere around the 1st of September.
Of 2024.
Of 2024, yeah. So let me know if you're interested and if that will work for you date-wise. I know, Pam, that you're thinking about going. Up there.
Okay.
But what we want to do is try to
There we go. That's the question. Good question, Rhonda.
Yeah. Okay, Rhonda.
Good question, Rhonda.
I'll get the steak out. Oh, it's not in my heart. It's in my back. That was a knife in the back. Was what I felt. Yeah. But anyway, so think about it. See if the 1st of September. The reason for that is that'll put us into shoulder season, so the prices. Pam says that's good for her. The prices will tend to drop a little bit. The other thing is that time of year, there's a chance anything after the 22nd of August, there's enough darkness that there's a chance you might see the northern lights. So obviously if we're there, we'd love to see it. Plus we should be in fall color season then. We've seen it in the spring. Now I'd like to see it, when the colors are changing. So I will work on getting that priced out, and I'll have information available. I'll share it in the group. For anybody that's watching that's not part of the Facebook group, I would encourage you to join the Facebook group. It's Traveling with a Chair or Other Disability. It doesn't cost anything to join, and it's a good place to meet other people that travel, and a lot of people in there that'll be glad to try to help. That's what it's all about. I think anything else?
I don't think so.
Okay.
We're a little tired from our trip. And then we had a tire fly off of a truck and run into us yesterday in our car.
Yes.
So we're a little bit tired from that too. Yeah, and Ken, the airbags went off and Ken's arm got it with the airbag. Because I lean way back in my chair, the airbag didn't bother me, except for the noise. I had ringing for like the whole rest of the day. So today we're
recuperating.
We're recuperating, figure out what we're doing next week, this week.
Anyway, we will let.
Oh, salmon.
Yeah, the odds are pretty good that salmon should be running then as well.
Oh, good. That means we have lots of fresh salmon probably on the ship.
Well, yeah, and pictures and all of that. Yeah. Okay, Pam, take Rhonda's side. Take Rhonda's side. Okay. I know where there's a gondola that goes really high up, and I might forget to tell you that fact when we go.
I was just looking for oh, there it is. I wanted to share this. So I wanted to show Rhonda. This is what we were talking about, the monolith in Cannon Beach, Oregon, 45 minutes out of Astoria where we stayed. It's really, if you're there, you should see it. But anyway, you can watch the video and learn more about it.
But anyway, so I'm glad everybody came and joined us for tonight. We will be back again next week. I will, yeah. It was, yeah. So you see, one thing, Pam and Rhonda, that you should be aware of, because I'll be on a ship probably with Rhonda. So I don't get mad, and I never settle for even. So I just better watch out, Anyway, it's been fun talking to everybody tonight. If you have questions, like I said, if you're interested, let me know. Like I said, I'll put some posts up. I'll pin it to the top of the Facebook group to see if we can find folks that are interested in going with us. But we'll start getting some reservations set up on that one.
Okay. Well, it was a nice evening. Glad to be here. I'm glad we made it, and glad you could make it. And please tell your friends if they'd be interested in watching. We'd love to have them join us.
Yep. We'll see everybody.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Good night.